there's still an ongoing crisis in Maui, and this is a two-part story. And I want to give a huge shout out to my Hawaiian audience who shared some links with me, and I'm going to play both these articles, videos back to back. So shout out to everyone, to our Hawaiian people out there, especially the residents of Lahaina in the area and on the island of Maui. We here in Chicago stand in solidarity with you. I know what I'm saying is just words, but I want to make it very clear that we will not forget you guys, and we shouldn't forget anyone else. Same things with people of East Palestine, Ohio, anyone else that's been facing natural disasters, man-made disasters. We are all Americans. We are all one in this, and we cannot forget. So I want to pull up this article here first about what's happening with the Maui wildfires. So let's go ahead and bring this article up here. Now, this came out March 11th. That was yesterday, Monday. So, Maui wildfire cases will stay in the Maui State Court. At least 90 lawsuits related to the Maui wildfires against Hawaiian Electric Industries, Spectrum, Kamaha Schools, and other defendants will be sent back to Maui State Court, where they originally filed. A federal judge ruled Monday. In the remaining cases, U.S. District Judge Jill Otake rejected an argument by HECO's lawyer that the town of Lahaina, where most of the 101 deaths occurred, in structures, vehicles, outdoors, and in the ocean, was a single discrete location under a federal law concerning mass disasters. Because Lahaina and the desperate places where people died were not a discrete location, Otake wrote, the federal law did not apply, and the federal court did not have jurisdiction over the cases. Very true. In summing up her reasoning, Otake's 30-page order stated simply, it is undisputed that the deaths here occurred across the entirety of Lahaina, and the court concludes that Lahaina is not a discrete location. Plaintiff's lawyer, Jess Creed, called the ruling a huge victory and said, now these cases will be decided by a Maui jury. That's important because the jury is the conscience of the community, he added. Creed previously accused HECO of using the removal of the cases from the Maui to federal court as a procedural stalling tactic. With the cases now back before Maui Judge Peter Cahill, Creed said the plaintiffs can resume the work of seeking justice for victims. We missed out about 4 months of work we could have done to get justice for these victims, and we fully intend to make up for the lost time. HECO's attorney, California lawyer Brad Bryan, declined an interview request. The definition of discrete location was central to the question of which the court would hear the cases. Injury, property damage, and wrongful death cases normally fall under jurisdiction of state courts, with some exceptions. But the Federal Municipality Multiform Trial Jurisdiction Act, passed by Congress in 2002, allows federal courts to hear cases arising out of a single incident where at least 75 natural persons have died in the incident at a discrete location, as long as some other criteria are met. The challenge for Otake was that Congress didn't define discrete location, so it was up to the judge to fill in the blanks, relying on the plain language of the statute, tools of statutory interpretation, and cases from other places. A deadly fire that destroyed a nightclub in Rhode Island in 2003, for instance, was found to have been a discrete location. In another case, a court found New Orleans metro area was not a discrete location. So, good for the people. Good for the people of Lahaina. However, there is a follow-up to, because again, the people of Lahaina still demand answers from their politicians and how their system let them down.
After 6 months of submitting public records requests, our Allison Blair finally got her hands on hundreds of emails belonging to the former head of Maui County's Emergency Management Agency, Herman Andaya. The never-seen-before correspondence provides a glimpse into what officials may have known as Lahaina was burning and their immediate actions after the disaster.
The emails are both to and from Herman Andaya over a 10-day time period, spanning from the day before Lahaina burned to the day Andaya resigned. An emergency management expert we asked to review the documents told us while much of what's there is normal, a lot of the communication you would typically expect to see between Andaya, county leaders, and outside agencies is missing.
567 emails, 9 Excel spreadsheets, and 4 audio recordings. All electronic correspondence either sent to or from the former head of Maui County's Emergency Management Agency, Herman Andaya. After 6 months of pressure, county officials finally agreed to release the public records tape.
6 months people had to wait. Not 1 month, not 2 months. Hell, 6 months. 6 months people had to wait. You know, the people of Lahaina are being displaced. A lot of area hasn't been recovered. And, you know, shout out to Craig Jardula Pasta. You know, our boy, our guy who's been doing phenomenal work. Please support his channel. Follow him on all social media. He did not one, but two documentaries about the disaster in Lahaina. And I think it's fundamentally important that we address this and talk about it because, first of all, we cannot forget that this was the most devastating wildfire in U.S. history, in recent history. So many people lost their lives. Communities, families forever scarred. There will be healing, but the process will be slow. And because these politicians and these people in charge of the safety of the people, how can anyone ever trust anything ever again?
H&N investigates at a cost of $311. A review revealed a variety of communications dated August 7th through the 17th. Topics ranging from Employee of the Year nominations to press releases, photos, emergency proclamations, and situational reports. What wasn't there?
I would have expected more executive communication, meaning from the mayor to heads of county departments, Mr. Andaya, more, how you doing? What do you need? What's going on?
I don't think we saw one email from the mayor to Herman Andaya in that whole week.
I didn't see any either.
Certified emergency manager Toby Claremont spent 4 decades working at the city, state, and federal levels, responding to disasters like Hurricane Katrina. He was also third in command at the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency before retiring in 2018.
Would you have expected more correspondence from Herman Andaya?
Yeah, I would have.
Claremont says it's possible Andaya could have been in contact with his counterparts in other ways. Maui County still hasn't confirmed whether it provided us with all Andaya's emails. However, the records we received indicate the MEMA administrator sent a total of 11 messages from his county account during the 10-day period encompassing the disaster and the first week of government's response. In the hours after Lahaina burned, Andaya sent 4 emails pertaining to the Kula fire. The following day, he sent a copy of an emergency declaration to county personnel and one to himself. On August 12th, Andaya responded to an inquiry from the state regarding ways to get information to people still trapped in West Maui. He later forwarded 3 emails he received from CAL FIRE to a counterpart. The last email was sent August 16th. Notes for his first and only press conference regarding the disaster.
You know what this tells you? They want to do everything they can to kick the can down the road. They don't want to hold any kind of conference whatsoever. They don't want to speak about this disaster because they know they effed up. I mean, the emergency systems failed the people of Lahaina. So many people lost their lives. And I remember, like, during one of the conferences, they said, well, I'm glad the sirens didn't work because people would have ran at the fire. Now listen. I don't know what possessed that man to say those words. But when I see a wall of fire, and I'm pretty sure 100% of the populace would agree with me, around the world, all right? When you see a wall of fire, I think our primal instinct of, oh, hey, I got to run away from it, not run at it. Who's going to run at a wall of fire? Like, hey, check out this wall of fire. Let's run at it. No, you're going to run away from it.
Do you regret not sounding the sirens?
I do not.
And here we go. Here we go. Do you not regret it? He doesn't regret it. This right here is peak ignorance, stupidity, and viciousness too.
Andaya submitted his resignation, citing health reasons, the following day. 7 months later, it's still unclear exactly who was making the calls the afternoon Lahaina burned. Under normal circumstances, Andaya would have been in charge of running Maui's Emergency Operations Center, but he left the island amid a red flag warning.
Why'd you abandon ship? You know, it's okay. A while back, I think, 2014 or something, the Costa Concordia or something. It was a ship that crashed in Italy, right? Because the ship's captain was trying to do a real impressive maneuver, but it sank, right? Like it had an accident. Do you think the captain stayed on board the ship? No, he actually got off the ship. He got off the ship and was on shore while everyone else was struggling to get off the boat. So the captain abandoned ship before anybody else did. So this guy was the captain, and he was off the island. Off the island.
To attend a FEMA conference in Waikiki. Meanwhile, none of his emails indicate he had any involvement in coordinating the county's emergency response as fire swallowed Lahaina town.
Typically, what would a person in his position, what would they have initiated correspondence about?
I would want to know what's going down. How big is this disaster? Where is it occurring? How many people are affected? What options are being explored right now to protect the population? Even though I wouldn't want to make decisions on the road, as I indicated just a few moments ago, I want to make sure that when I get there, that I'm pretty briefed up.
This week, we asked the Bisson administration if Andaya had a hand in the county's initial emergency response coordination, and if so, how that communication took place. We didn't get an answer. But here's what the mayor had to say at a press conference 3 weeks after the disaster.
I'm not sure who is in charge. I think.
Holy cow. Horrible choice of words. I'm not sure who's in charge. The mayor. Brilliant. Holy cow. Hey, listen. Even politicians here in Chicago wouldn't say something that stupid. Come on. Are you trying to come after our title? Mayor Lahaina? You trying to come after Chicago's title? Because see, the thing is, we have more constructive answers than that. You just say, I don't know who's in charge. Just flat out, I don't know who's in charge. I don't know. It's kind of your job. You should know who's in charge, lovely.
Herman Andaya was still in charge. He just wasn't present. He was in.
You know what? Hey, people of Hawaii, stop coming after our belt. Illinois is #1 in horrible excuses and corruption, okay? But you guys just going right out there like, oh, well, I don't know who's in charge, but that guy was in charge. We're going to rewind that. Hold on.
Disaster.
I'm not sure who was in charge. I think Herman Andaya was still in charge. He just wasn't present. He was in contact with his team, I guess by phone. I don't know exactly how.
In the days following the fire, emails show the
Boy, that was inspirational. That was confidence right there. You keep on hitting that home run, Mayor. People Lahaina, Maui, Hawaii. What you trying to do?
MEMA administrator did have at least a handful of conversations with the state and agencies like Cal Fire by phone and via virtual meetings.
Fat Man TV says, I know nothing. I just work here. Perfect sense.
Claremont says Andaya was also likely in communication with the state through an internal online platform called WebEOC. As for the other items in Andaya's inbox that caught Claremont's attention, this press release issued by the county at 4:45 p.m. instructing people on the west side to shelter in place unless evacuations are ordered. By that time, much of Lahaina town was burning. Claremont says the order may have delayed some people's decision to leave. And this situational report that indicates at the height of the fire, the county's emergency operations center still had not been fully activated.
You would think that when you start to see things evolving and trending in the wrong direction, you'd want everybody you can and who you depend on in your emergency operating center to help you. It could be they were just waiting on a decision from somebody to do it.
On Tuesday, we asked the Bisson administration if the mayor was in communication with Andaya through means other than email during that 10-day time period. We're waiting for a response.
Hey, besides emails, text messages, phone calls, Skype, smoke signals, no pun intended. How are you talking to this guy? Same guy who said, "Oh yeah, I'm glad I didn't sound the alarm." People died because of negligence. People died because of viciousness. People died. People died in Lahaina, and it could have been avoided.
Meanwhile, you can read all Andaya's emails for yourself. We've posted them on our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. Just click on this story. Allison Blair, Hawaii News Now.
So, reason why I'm playing that video and brought up that article is because we cannot forget about the people of Lahaina. If that's not a shining example of failure of leadership, corruption, abuse of power, I don't know what is. The recent Hawaiian primary had a drastically low turnout in comparison to what was in the 2020 Democratic primary. The people of Lahaina were being stepped on. People of Lahaina were displaced. Yet the rich people, surprisingly, their homes are A-OK. They're A-OK. Perfectly fine. They're living their best lives. And of course, venture capitalists are going to be swooping in, as they always do. But at least this case still remains. And more importantly, the media and people are still holding their politicians accountable. I think more so, I think everyone needs to be knocking down and kicking down the doors of these politicians, from the mayor and anyone else. People died. Families lost loved ones. Communities forever scarred. The recovery process, what recovery process? People are still wondering how they're going to make ends meet. And this is overall an American problem. Our politicians do not care. The person in charge, he was off the island. He abandoned ship. Now I know how the Romans felt, especially in the later days of the empire, as it's all falling down. The people in charge don't care because they're in it for themselves. That's why we have to be the ones to look after each other.